Hello people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for your Leeds versus Watford post-match chat. Before we get into today's video, as always is the case, like the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. Thank you to everyone that watched today's watch along. Another great numbers, some more great reactions. I'll get that posted up to you very, very shortly. I've just won the great Grand National, not me personally, but my pick, Noble Yeats. Those that watch the watch along will know that I called that. So yeah, it's been a good day, an even better day for followers of Leeds United. Of course, for me now, okay, there's still a long way to go, but we took a massive, massive, massive step towards Premier League survival. The pressure was on. Newcastle won Friday. Everton beat that team from across the Pennines at lunchtime. And we had to go away to, one of our relegation rivals and all but condemn them to relegation now for me. I think they're about 11 points off. We did the same to Norwich. We did the same to Watford. I don't think Leeds United have been beaten by a newly promoted side since I returned back to the Premier League, both Bielsa and Marshall. That's a big feather in the cup for the mighty Whites. But yeah, look, the performance, it wasn't vintage, but we still won the game 3-0. That's the thing. We weren't at our best today. We still went down south. We still went to Watford and we cooked them, man. We whipped them. We whipped them and said, see you later, enjoyed the championship. Do you know what I mean? I thought they were very, very poor. I don't even know they had a shot on target. That's not to say that Leeds United weren't poor as well, but we were clinical today. We took our opportunities. We took our chances. We win the game 3-0. There was some standout performances. I want to give props to Sam Greenwood. His introduction onto the pitch, I thought it was absolutely exceptional. And I've been saying for quite some time that I don't think this guy will hit the heights, Well, I think I'm wrong. I seen my friend Oscar of All Leeds TV fame tweeting about how Jesse Marsh has basically managed these young players, the way that he's using them at the right time, you could say. He brought on Gelhardt at Norwich, he brought on Creswell at Wolves, he brings on Greenwood today, and when Somerville will be sooner come. That's what Oscar said, and he's probably got a point. Maybe I've been a little bit too harsh on these youngsters because Greenwood was involved in both the goals towards the end, I believe. We score in the first half from Rafinha, a moment of brilliance, and then we get two in the second half. When after a period of time, to be honest, where Watford were all over us, they just couldn't create clear-cut chances. There was a few, the decision-making poor, confidence poor. There was a chance for Sarr where he has a chance to make it one apiece, and he goes for power instead of, if he wraps his foot round it, it's 1-1, and the crowd gets up, and then you might be looking at a different scoreline, but our goals came at the right time and we killed them. Big shout out Chris at LUFC Data for the stats, as is always the case. But biggest win of the season for Leeds United. That it's the first league double over Watford since 99-2000. We'd only won one of the last 5 against them. That coming earlier than in the season. It's also our first clean sheet in 18 matches. Who'd have thunk it? I genuinely didn't predict that. I said I believe we should go down there and win. I said 3-2. I thought there'd be goals for both sides. I didn't think we'd get a shutout. How huge is that? Considering the run that we're going on, that's confidence for Melier. That's confidence for the back four. The centre backs, by the way, Llorente always gives me kittens. It's just what he does. There was a moment where he made an exceptional tackle on Emmanuel Dennis, and then 2 minutes later he gets a free kick for pulling down João Pedro for something silly, and he gives me kittens. And sometimes he's amazing, sometimes he's really, really poor. But I just want to say, put some respect on Captain Cooper's name, because since his return back into this side, he has been nothing short of exceptional. He's marshalled the back four, give us some real solidity back there. He even had a go at Melier in the first half, like saying, are you going to talk? Are you going to talk? And that's what they need. That's what they need. And he's coming in and he's been a colossal. There was a moment where Sarr could have got in when it was 1-0, and he was exceptional, made a last-ditch challenge. There was one that he made on Sarr where every time a Watford player lost the ball, by the way, they just stayed on the deck. They weren't there for the fight. Leeds United are up for the fight. We're up for the fight, and we won't go down. Definitely not. I'm calling it. I've said it for weeks anyway. I have. I know results haven't gone our way. And look, we've still got, and if Burnley win all their games in hand, which they won't do, they'll be level on points with us. But I just feel now we're in a very, very good position. Now we've gone 4 games without defeat, 4 undefeated for a team that was languishing, languishing. The first time we've done that since winning our last 4 in the Premier League last season back in May. You know, so it shows how long that's been, how long it's been since we've won a game like this at a canter with, you know, and being poor at that. You know, Jack Harrison, great again. He scored, you know, in 3 consecutive Premier League matches. I don't think we ever give him the props that he deserves. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are picking goal scorers, and Jack Harrison very rarely comes up. Like, when I'm talking, anyway, it's probably me speaking out loud. Do you know what I mean? But he's scored in 3 consecutive Premier League matches now. He scored 7 Premier League goals for us. And when you consider how poor we've been, that's decent, you know. I've got to give props to Marsh. You have to. You can't not. You know, he's coming. We played 6 matches. He's won 3, drawn 1, lost 2. We've scored 9 and have got 10 points. You know, we are 9 points above the relegation zone. You have to say at this moment in time, the club made the right decision. As much as it pains me to say it, as much as I say it through gritted teeth, I still think we'd have been okay with Bielsa. Let me caveat that. But big shout out to Jesse Marsh. He's done a wonderful job. He's managing the squad perfectly. You know, he's even came out and said there was eyebrows raised at the start of the game when Calvin Phillips doesn't start. We're all thinking if he's fit, he's got to start. But Marsh says, no, look, we're going to spend the next few weeks making sure Phillips is fully up to speed. Because I admit we made a mistake with rushing Bamford back. Fair play to him. He holds his hands up. And let's be honest, Calvin's got the World Cup to think about as well. And we want to make sure he's right for that. I know people say club over country and all that sort of stuff, but we owe him that as well, you know? And look, it didn't really matter today, did it? I mean, I will say the double pivot for me just didn't work today. I thought Click and Cock, nah. Passing, nah. Not about it. They weren't great. We lost something in there. But when Calvin in there gave us that little bit of steel. But look, we still got through unscathed. We get 3 points. We score 3 goals. It's good man management from Jesse. Just brings it back to that point that my good friend Oscar was saying. You know, he brings on Geldart at 1-1 versus Norwich, Creswell and Greenwood at Wolves, and then Greenwood again today. And as I say, Greenwood was great, man. He was great. You know, an assist for his troubles, and he was involved in the second as well. You know, so that must be doing wonders for his confidence as well. You know, and Marsh said in the press conference that nobody has adapted better to his tactics than Sam Greenwood. And you can see he's made a jump up that pecking order, maybe even ahead of Geldart slightly. I'm not saying he's better than, but in terms of Jesse Marsh's eyes, he's made that jump up. And fair play to the kid, you know what I mean? He's took his opportunity and ran with it. And I love that. I love that. And, you know, we just have that extra bit of sauce over our relegation rivals. You know, I said that during the watch-along. At half-time when we're 1-0 up and people said, oh, we need more, oh, we're being poor. I said, listen, I'm not even bothered about performance at this stage of the season. I just want to get points. And when you have match winners like Rafinha, when he can take an effort out of nothing like he did, off the inside of the post, Ben Foster, no chance. You've got Rodrigo pulling the strings. Second half, I thought he was great, you know. The relegation rivals don't have that. They don't have that. They don't have a Rafinha who's destined, you know, for Champions League. They don't have a Rodrigo's, you know, being at the top of the game for years. You know, we have that. And that's props to Leeds United and the recruitment team and stuff. And, you know, look, you have to, again, I'll come back to it. You have to say the management team got it right, you know, because Leeds United are going to stay in the division. I do think we would have done under Bielsa. I thought after Aston Villa, we're done. Wrong decision made. But look, the football's not pretty at times, but we won the game 3-0. We're now undefeated in 4. Bring on whoever. It is what it is. You know, we will compete. We will be in games, you know. And at times under Bielsa, there were times we weren't, yeah. Just something additional as well, what Marsh had to say. Apparently, Meslier was actually not expected to play today. He was planning for Christopher Klassen being in net, but he made a miraculous recovery overnight. There was an issue with his back, I believe, what kept him out, or got him took off against Wolves after the Jimenez thing. But, you know, Meslier, okay, distribution, still a bit suspect for me, but one-on-one, the guy's exceptional. There was a chance for Sarr in the first half. I know it was offside, but I always back Meslier in them one-on-one situations, and he was decent from corners as well today. But while we're talking, let's get into the game into more in depth. You know, just in that first half, as I say, I don't think we really got going either sides. It was bitty, you know. It didn't really get started, and I put on my notes, you know, Click. Multiple loose passes all throughout the full game, but I think even in the first 20 minutes, he'd made 3 loose passes, weren't really the races. You know, we gave away a number of set pieces early doors as well. I found out that Watford actually hadn't scored for 3 years outside of that 18-yard box. 3 years. That's what I heard on the commentary. Like, Watford fans watching this might be like, what are you talking about? But that's what I heard, 3 years outside of the 18-yard box. That is some poor football like you're watching on a regular basis. I feel sorry for them. And like I say, destined for the drop now. Rafinha scores to make it 1-0. As I say, Dan James, again, for me, flat to deceive. I love Dan James and everything he does on the pitch. But in terms of when it really counts, you know, his legs are just too fast for his brain. He runs like Wile E. Coyote, like next level, like me, and his brain's just not there. Do you know what I mean? His brain's in, like, I don't know, junior school, and his legs are at Usain Bolt levels. And there was even the build-up to Rafinha goal. Yeah, he was involved, but it was a lot of due to the fact that he couldn't get it under the spell. There was one at one point, I think Cabaselli, it looked like it could have been a pen. And when you watch it back, you know, a striker probably meets it first time and hits it with his instep, and it goes in the, you know, it goes towards goal, but it hit the side of Dan James' legs and he just falls over. Yeah, Cut's a frustrating figure for me in that respect. But look, he was involved, you could argue, in the build-up. Rafinha, outside of the box, 10th goal of the season for him. Ben Foster, no chance. It was nice to see Rafinha in and amongst it. And like I say, going to enjoy him between now and the end of the season, because he'll want to put up some good performances against some of the top teams that we've got coming up as well. I thought, you know, Ben Foster's distribution was suspect. I think just even our distribution from the back as well. Like I'd said in the preview, neither side really wants to keep the ball. They play counter-attacking, we play counter-press. It's like, here, you have it. You know, that I think the only real time I can think where anyone had sustained pressure was actually from Watford in that second half, when they had like 61% possession. The rest of it was just all over the shops, and both sides were giving it away. I thought the referee for me was okay as well. Just on that, I made a note of that. But there was a decision not to give Feminina, the right back, a yellow card up against Dan James, and that was on halfway. We were definitely on the counter at that point. I think it was a stonewall yellow card. It was a really strange as to why he didn't get one. I thought Feminina, by the way, his delivery was pretty decent from right back. He was taking a lot of their set pieces as well. So yeah, like I said, then the Sarr, we had a chance for Sarr, which you're thinking Melier, what a save in a one-on-one situation. Again, Sarr, you know, Sarr's a decent player, although today was found wanting, just went missing, weren't up for the fight. I don't think any of these players are. I don't think the players that were brought in really are relegation scraps. It's just they've gone across the continent, across Europe. They have no real plan to Watford. You know, you're going from Cisco Muniz to Roy Hodgson to Claudio Ranieri. There's no plan, and it's no surprise they are where they are, really. You know, Dennis, good player, very good player, and caused problems, I guess you could say, down the left-hand side, gave Ayling something to think about. But again, in that second half, you know, there was a number of chances where they just made the wrong decision. There was once where João Pedro was on the left and Sissoko's in the centre, and the ball should have been to João Pedro. He just played it inside to Sissoko and he gets tackled. As I said, there was a number of decisions where they could have hurt us, and because of where they are, you know, they didn't. I thought João Pedro, just while I'm on him as well, he was down so much. But anyway, half-time came. As I say, both teams all over the shop. I think maybe the occasion, how much was riding on it, you know. And look, it wasn't vintage Leeds, but when it mattered, our star man came up, and that was Rafinha. You know, and that's what we have, whereas the rest of the teams down there, they don't have that extra bit of sauce for me. And of course, the second half comes. There was a chance early. I think just props to Harrison as well. I know he scored, obviously, and it was an absolute cracking strike from him. But there was a moment, I think Rodrigo found him, put him out on the left, and I swear to God, he played an absolutely sumptuous ball across goal. Rafinha, for whatever reason, didn't get in there. Bamford's in there, makes it 2-0. For sure. But I just want to give props to that, because it was an unreal ball across the box at that chance. As I say, then James had was it a penalty? Turns out it just bounced off his shin or whatever, and he fell to the floor. And then again, you know, number of chances. Watford started to take control. It was for about 10, 15 minutes, I would argue, from about 50 to 65 minutes, as I say. And then Greenwood came on. He moved well up the pecking order, you know, under Jesse Marsh. He came on for Dan James, and I thought he was great. He offered us a lot more than Dan James had done. up until that point anyway. And then, I made a point in my notes of saying the disrespect on my captain's name. I mentioned it at the start, but he made an exceptional challenge on Sarr. Sarr didn't want to know. He was on the deck for a period after it. Not up for the fight, as I keep saying, but Cooper was great. Another captain's performance today and last weekend, and he's coming at the right time when we needed to steady the ship. We needed to steady what's going on. And we come back and he's got, clean sheets, conceded 1 in 2 games, which, people want to say, oh, well, prior to him being out, we were conceding X, Y, Z. There's a reason that guy has been the captain at this football club under a number of regimes. And I think he was substitute twice for Bielsa, and we all love Bielsa, the majority of us. Now Jesse Marsch comes in, he's straight back in the side. Oh, he shouldn't come in for Strout. Strout needed pulling out. Strout's the future. But for now, the present, Cooper's the man, yeah? And then, as I say, a man reborn. Rodrigo Moreno makes it 2-0. Greenwood, exceptional in the build-up. As I say, it was an error made. Rodrigo, his tenacity, his endeavour, his drive to get there. You didn't get that under Bielsa. I think at times he didn't really know what his job was. He was asked to do something that he's probably not used to. Totally different under Marsch. This happens at football clubs. It's no disrespect to Bielsa. It happens, Look at Greenwood. He's really bought into it. Rodrigo, the same, he's been given extra, extra stuff on his shoulders, being part of that leadership group. You can see him, he was banging the badge when he scored the goal. And, he done well. Ben Foster tried to bring him down. He makes it 2-0 and it's game over at that point, isn't it? Somerville came on a little bit later on. Nice to see him get some minutes because I know a lot of fans have been clamouring for that. And then Harrison makes it 3-0. What a strike. It was similar to the West Ham. He was exceptional in that game. He made a similar strike in that one as well. And we know that he's got that in his locker. And look, Jesse Marsch, 4 games unbeaten, 3 wins, 9 points off relegation. Leeds United sitting pretty. And for me, we'll now survive the drop. And we can then look to next season. We're not out of the woods yet, but listen, I think it's getting to the point where it might be insurmountable. Like, look at Watford. Just on Watford, they're like 11 points away now from whoever's, I think, is it Everton in 17th? I don't know without looking the table in front of me. But, we are now climbing away. It's just disappointing that Newcastle get a result and Everton get a result because we'd have passed Newcastle and all that sort of stuff. But it is what it is. Still only a point behind them now. We've got some difficult games on the horizon, but we'll be in them games, and that's the most important thing. We're going to be in them. Look, thanks as always for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like it, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and make sure you watch out for my reactions as well, which I'll be posting up in a bit. And enjoy the rest of your week and have a lovely Easter, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds.